What is up, world? Welcome to Apocaflix Now, the movie hangout show from us, Apocaflix. And I am your host, Jacob Bartley. I'm joined by a four-man crew today. I'm sure Mr. Keith Barnes will join us in a little bit here. But I am joined, of course, by Jake Berlin up there in the upper right-hand corner, depending on how you look at things. And, of course, we have Brian Avalosino in the bottom right-hand corner, at least my right-hand corner, and Gio Ramos right below me. What's up, guys?
Ready to go.
Happy Friday.
Yes.
Woo-hoo!
Yes. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. California is going into phase 3, and hopefully that can either be good or bad. We'll see what ends up happening. But before we get started on the actual content of the show, I want to tell you guys about our podcasts. You can listen to this show and all of our other shows on most podcast platforms that you go to, and that could be Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you listen to podcasts. All of our shows are included. Like I said, this one, we have the Padawan podcast, Nation and the Casting Table. Everything that we do here at Apocaflix Movies is in podcast form. So go check us out. It's simple. It's easy. You can play it in your car without, having to have a video playing on your phone. So it's very convenient. Check us out. Subscribe. Also, please comment and rate. That really helps us as well. We would appreciate it.
Yes.
And yes, so as normal, we will start the show with You Haven't Seen What, our movie challenge segments where one of us gets challenged to a movie by the other four. And the way it works is the other four of us choose a movie. We put it into our virtual bowl for now, and the person who is challenged selects 1 through 4, and that is the movie that they're going to challenge. Last week, Jake was challenged by Keith. Well, it was Keith's movie selected. He was, I forgot who challenged you. Was it, who chose you?
Keith chose me.
Oh, and it ended up being his movie?
Yep.
Interesting. So Jake was challenged to Cape Fear, and we will get to the person he challenged here in a second, but let's go ahead and, I guess
Look at that
talk
wallpaper.
Cape Fear. That looks
so
amazing.
So creepy.
But I have never seen Cape Fear. I don't know much about it, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit of background here just quickly. I very much like probably the rest of you, I had no idea this movie even existed. Absolutely no idea this movie existed. Directed by Martin Scorsese and has a killer cast of Robert De Niro, obviously, Nick Nolte, Jessica Lange, one of the other, who is in very well known these days for the American Horror Story TV show. She plays a big part in those, and I had never actually seen her in a movie, so it was actually really cool to see her in a movie, and a lot of other names that you recognize from that time period. But the movie itself is based around a lawyer, which is played by Nick Nolte, and Robert De Niro is a ex-con who just gets out of prison. He's been in prison for 14 years. And the story kind of unfolds as we go, but we learn that he went to prison because of rape charges, and Nick Nolte was actually his defense lawyer 14 years ago. And we eventually learned, and this is all very much in the easy breakdown, but we learned that Nick Nolte withheld information during the trial because he believed that this guy should have gone to jail for the rest of his life. And somehow Robert De Niro finds this out. He comes back for revenge. It's a revenge thriller, and things kind of unfold that way. The movie's wild. Like it is so much crazier than I was expecting for a movie. And I will say this: if I would watch this without knowing that it was a Scorsese film, he would have been the last person I would have guessed it was a Scorsese film. It does not look, feel, or act like a Scorsese movie from these days at all. It feels completely different. It's actually a remake of a movie that was made decades before that. And the cool thing about the movie is that he films it like it's a movie from that time period. It doesn't feel like a 90s movie. It has a very kind of documentary feel to it where it's quick close-ups on faces. You can tell how the foreground works compared to the background in certain scenes, like with a character up front, but the background is almost blurred in a way. It's very old school filmmaking, and he's a completely different director these days than he is now. And that's why I enjoyed it so much. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And because the movie, like I said, is just wild. It is so crazy. I never would have expected it to be this way. And I will say this, I'm undecided at the moment, but it might be my favorite role from Robert De Niro. He is brilliant in this movie.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant. He takes it up a notch every scene. The movie it's one of those stories where it like builds to a climax, and every time the character is on screen, he continues to outdo himself. His name is Max Cady. Like, first of all, such a creepy name. Second of all, I'm really bummed that Keith's not here when I'm gonna say this, but I am so upset at myself that I didn't watch this before a villains draft because I would have drafted him so high. I would have drafted him so high in our villains draft because this guy does not die. He's smart as hell, and he's just a straight villain. He's just a straight villain. And so, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I mentioned, mostly because it does not feel like a typical Scorsese movie. It's very fast paced, which Scorsese these days is very story based. And then Nick Nolte, seeing a young Nick Nolte is just very strange, first of all. And he's not as crazy and wacky as he is these days. And so, yeah, I definitely thoroughly enjoyed Cape Fear. It's definitely a winner.
I need to watch this movie. This sounds awesome.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I was just
made in
looking
91.
it up. Yeah.
And it's about 2 hours long, but the movie feels much longer because it just kind of continues on. And that's not a bad thing. Like, the movie really just kind of keeps going and you want it to keep going. But I will say this, the ending is very satisfying, but it's also one of the best stunts as far as like production wise that I've ever seen. How it was filmed and like the thought behind how they filmed it and the props they used. It's really, really, really well done.
Sweet.
Wow, this is like one of the one of the most times I've been so excited about watching one of these movies that someone else was challenged to. Like,
it's crazy. The music is brilliant as well. And like I said, you're going to recognize people, and I don't have the names off the top of my head, but you're going to recognize a lot of people that pop in the movie that were in those 90s movies, early 2000s that you kind of see a lot of. But yeah, definitely a really good movie. And I don't know if I'll say it's one of my favorite Scorsese movies, but because it's so unique, it's one that I could easily go back and watch a couple times over again.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to check it out.
Hey, question.
What's up, Gio?
Hey, Jake, why do you think, and this is not to say anything negative about the movie, I'm clearly excited about it now that you've talked about it. Why do you think people don't talk about this Scorsese movie as much as they do others?
I think probably the biggest reason is because, like I said, it doesn't feel like a normal Scorsese movie. It really feels like something completely different from what he does these days. And I don't know when exactly he kind of made the change to being much more of a dramatic, story-based filmmaker. But I don't know. It's interesting because we obviously know that all the movies he does are pretty much brilliant. Like everything he does is really, really good. But it could be a Quentin Tarantino situation where he makes all these great movies, but there's those ones from the early on that kind of get lost in the fold, right? Like a Reservoir Dogs, right? Like a Reservoir Dogs. For a lot of people, that's one of Tarantino's best films, if not their favorite. But when we talk Tarantino, we don't talk Reservoir Dogs. We talk Pulp Fiction. We talk Kill Bill. We talk Django. We talk Inglourious Bastards. But still, a lot of people still consider that to be one of his best films. It could be a very similar situation with Cape Fear and Scorsese, and because it was done 30 years ago, came out in 91. It's a long time ago, and generation-wise, a lot of people probably don't even know this movie exists.
I didn't.
I mean, yeah, I didn't before Keith challenged it to me.
I knew about it, but I didn't know anything about it at all. And so I want to watch every single Scorsese movie ever made. And I haven't seen Taxi Driver either, and I really need to watch that. And I got to add this one to the list. I'm trying to make a list for each streaming service of movies that I need to watch. I'm actually building my watch list. So I'm going to go ahead and add this on Netflix. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it, especially for film people. It's a really, really well done movie. And like I said, it's cool because it plays off that decades before style of filmmaking. It doesn't feel like a 90s movies. It kind of in a way feels like a 60s movies where they have that different type of camera work and the zooming in and and that type of stuff. So it's something that really kind of catches the eye as you watch it.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to checking it out. So let's move on to who was challenged. And Brian Avalosino was chosen by Jake to be challenged by us for. And has it been a while since you've been challenged?
It's been like over a month at least.
Brian misses this. He likes being made to watch movies.
Well, it's the easiest to pick for him because it literally is a full list of red.
I know, on our spreadsheet. Yeah, it was so easy. Yeah.
I know, and some of the movies that you have there, I'm like, I want to watch those on my own. Like, well, I check first. Like last night, I watched The Rocketeer for the first time.
Well, you can still do that. Like I watched Alien for the first time, and I went and marked it off. So
I know I've been literally picking the notebook for Jake.
You know what's
for the
funny
past
though?
3 months.
Aliens is not on there, which we need to add.
Go for it. Bring it.
Yeah. But a lot of people love Alien more than the rest. But okay, so all four of us chose a movie. We put it into the virtual bowl, and now Brian is going to choose a number 1 through 4. Jake, I'm assuming you have the virtual bowl ready.
I got it.
All right, Brian, what is your 1 through 4 choice?
When I knew I was going to be challenged, this was the first number that popped in my head. I am going to go with 3.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to reveal the wallpaper image.
Drum roll, please.
3, 2. It's Mr. Keith Barnes' pick.
Okay.
Mr. Keith Barnes' pick. Brian has never seen Catch Me If You Can.
Okay.
I will say this. It was the movie that I was considering to challenge with, but I ended up going with my other choice. So I'm really glad Keith picked this one. And I'm so excited. This is definitely one of my favorite Spielberg movies. This movie is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's so good. Based on a true story, too.
Yes.
It's awesome. Dude, it's Leo and Tom Hanks. Oh, my
Frank
goodness.
Frank Abernathy.
And watch out for a young Amy Adams in this movie as well.
You're right. You are correct. Good call. Oh, that's right. Plays the dad. Yes, yes. A lot of names you'll see in this movie for sure. I forget who plays. I forget who plays his mom, but she's a well-known actress as well. The French woman.
I'll say this is an exciting movie. It's not, even though it's like based on a true story and stuff. It's a fun movie. Like it's very entertaining. Honestly,
I agree. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. It's one of the one of the Spielberg movies that plays on TNT a lot. I will always throw it on. I will always throw it on and watch it because it's a really fast-paced movie. But what's cool is that it jumps through time a little bit, and so you kind of get these different feels as the story goes on, which is really cool.
I dig it. I'm down to watch it.
Cool. All right. Real quick before we move on, we have a comment from Rachel, and she wants to hear your thoughts on The Rocketeer. And I can add on this too because I watched it last week as well.
It might have been Rachel that said it, but someone said it's if Captain America and Iron Man had a baby in movie-wise. That's pretty much exactly what it was, in my opinion.
That is so weird to say.
Brian, did you get the first Avenger vibes?
Kinda, yeah.
I did, for sure.
I loved the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I looked him up, and I didn't realize he played James Bond. I had no clue. But love his voice and how evil he seemed, and that it was pretty good. I was impressed by it. Nothing like I thought it would be.
Yeah, so. It's really and I didn't get to talk about it on this too much, but when I said I watched it, but the first thing that popped in my head was that these are the type of Disney movies I want to see Disney make. They don't make movies like this anymore. They get back to the adaptations and the fairy tales and that type of stuff. I want to see them make stories like this, right? Where it's an original movie. It's something that you kind of believe in, but it kind of also has that little bit of a fantasy twist with it where he's fighting Nazis, which is just kind of like a weird thing, but it really works at the same time. Like I said, Alan Arkin is in it, and a lot of well-known people that you'll recognize as you watch it. Jennifer Connelly is the girlfriend of the movie.
She was awesome.
If you Gio and Jacob, if you guys haven't watched it,
I've never seen it.
I highly recommend.
Awesome.
It was like if Iron Man and Captain America had a baby, and then that baby had a baby with Indiana Jones.
Wow. That's a weird family tree. Speaking of pre-watching movies that they weren't challenged to, I have a question for Jake. Jake, I heard through the grapevine that you watched The Notebook.
I have watched it. That was a while ago.
Yeah. So, the thing is,
you updated
it was on the challenge list as marked as red for a long time. And now that you've watched it, I can say Brian chose it every single time you were challenged. Brian chose it. And
Jake, I want to say I've had it for like a year.
I was hoping it would get chosen. So I'm curious, what do you think of The Notebook?
It's a good movie. It's the best of the
Nicholas Spark adaptations.
Yeah, by far it's the best of those.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, honestly, you guys know how I feel about Ryan Gosling. So anything he does, like I'm pretty much just hooked into. And then Rachel McAdams, you throw in there, I'm just like drooling over myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a really good romantic movie with really good chemistry between the two of them. I love how passionate it is and how deep it gets sometimes. And I love the time area it's set in as well because you don't see much of that anymore. So yeah, it's definitely a good movie. And it's funny because when you were just talking, I thought you were going to go to something else, but I'll save that for a later date.
Yeah, no, I'm always pro Notebook because it gets a lot of hate because it's a romantic movie, but I think it's one of the best romantic movies ever made. Like it handles romance very well, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. And real quick, before we move on, I just want to say I just watched King of Staten Island right before our show.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Really good movie. Really good. And you guys know I love Judd Apatow movies. I love his good movies. Like when he directs, he makes some of the characters and the interactions feel very real. Like there's a lot of that in 40-Year-Old Virgin. There's a lot of that in Knocked Up, things like and Trainwreck. I really love Trainwreck. So this is thumbs up for me. Bill Burr is in it. He plays his stepdad, or not stepdad, but he plays his mom's boyfriend, who his mom is Marissa Tomei in the movie.
Yes.
This movie is very entertaining. I want people, please go support this movie. Look, if you would have went and watched it in theaters, you would have spent $40 that night to go watch it. You could spend $20. It's totally worth it. I vouch for this movie. It's awesome.
Sweet.
Well, I'm glad you saw a new movie that you liked because I did the complete opposite.
It's funny, and real quick, because we do need to move on. But Brian watched Artemis Fowl, and maybe we'll save that for a later date. I watched Defy Bloods on Netflix.
Oh wow! We all watched the new release.
Yeah, which is really cool. Maybe we'll do it like a separate video on those. But yeah, it's really funny how that shook out.
I just wanted to give that movie a shout out because I think it needs some love for sure.
Well, it's the only one that's requiring. It's the only one requiring rental, so that one needs to get
exactly.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, before we get on to some other stuff, I'm going to tell you guys about a poll that we have up right now. So as you know, we've been doing our watch-alongs lately, which have been...
Have you guys seen the results so far?
No, I forgot you even posted it.
Okay, I'm going to share it right now.
I have.
We got a lot of votes today, gentlemen.
I know. We'll talk about who's winning by a lot right now. But I want to tell you guys what movies we have. And you can vote on this if you go to the community tab on our YouTube channel, and you can check out that poll and vote on it. And so how it works is we all got assigned a streaming service, and we each get to pick a movie from that streaming service. Brian picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's on Disney+. Keith chose Fight Club, which is on HBO. Jake chose Demolition Man on Hulu. Gio chose Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse on Netflix. And I chose The Cabin in the Woods on Prime Video. And as you can see, Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse is killing it, and it made me realize
I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised.
I have a feeling the most popular movie is going to win most of the time.
Yes,
I have a feeling about that.
I'm surprised
I will say though,
Frame Roger Rabbit is doing.
I will say I want to do a watch along to all 5 of these.
No, like, so do I know. I know. So I feel like the ones that lose should go back into the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Demolition Man will ever win, but it's a movie that I want you guys to see if you've never seen it. It's such a fun movie between
that movie.
Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and a young Sandra Bullock. It's such a great movie, but it was never gonna beat Into the Spider-Verse, let alone Who Framed Roger Rabbit, let alone Fight Club. It was never gonna beat them.
I'm surprised Who Framed Roger Rabbit is doing so well. To be honest,
I'm not. No way, I'm not.
Film. I thought Spider-Man would probably be in first, and I figured Fight Club would be in second. But
Who Framed Roger Rabbit would be a really, really fun watch along.
It's a good time to do Spider-Verse if it wins, because the Miles Morales character is hot right now.
Yes.
I look.
Why I chose it.
Come on, guys. Let's get Cabin in the Woods up there.
I'm with you, Jacob. I'm with you, man.
I promise
that would be that ending.
Yes.
That ending would be perfect for a watch along.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
So if you guys want to, what probably the most entertaining watch along you're gonna get out of these 5, Cabin in the Woods. But maybe we'll just force it in one. Like we'll just force watching Cabin. In
maybe
the
we'll do a
Woods
double header one night and we just throw that one in there.
Hey, it's probably pretty short. We'll pair it with Euro Trip. Boom, there we go. 3-hour watch along.
That was my problem picking a Disney Plus movie. Is like they were so short. All the movies were so short.
That's not a bad thing.
They were like the ones I had were like an hour 15. I was like, oh, that's like
if you
nothing.
combine like our normal shows are like an hour long, so it's not a bad thing if it's short. Honestly, yes. So please go vote. Choose which movie you want the next watch along to be, and also comment and let us know what movies you guys want to see. And I don't know how we'll throw it up on the voting system. Maybe we'll choose a fan movie as a 6th option or something, like something that somebody recommended in the comment section. Awesome. So as well, now time to move on to some serious stuff. I guess you could consider it serious, but as you saw in the title of this video and on the thumbnail, we have an announcement to make regarding our YouTube channel. Nothing crazy, but it is a big change for us, and we're just making some decisions about our content and logistics and stuff. So I will let Jake tell everybody what's going on.
Yeah, so obviously things have changed a lot as far as COVID goes and quarantine and stuff like that. We're doing this over virtual right now. We have been for a while, and it's been working out great. And we got together maybe 2 weeks ago as a group, not streaming or anything. And we kind of just talked some things out. And we came to the decision that going forward for the time being, we are going to be putting both Padawan Podcast and Nerd Nation on hiatus. They will be basically on pause for the foreseeable future. And so starting the 2nd week of July, so that's the week after July 4th, you will just see Apocaflix Now and the casting table on our YouTube page for the foreseeable future. We aren't saying canceling because we aren't canceling. It is something that these shows we absolutely love. We love getting together and talking, whether it's comic books or Star Wars or a mixture of both. But there's a couple reasons behind this. One is that we know at some point when COVID officially kind of goes away and we get back to our regular schedules of working and, just outside lives, it might be difficult for us to keep 4 shows running on a weekly basis, because each show outside of the casting table is a weekly basis. And that's very difficult for us to do with our work life and social life as well. Not to say we don't want to do that, but we're trying to look at what's best for us personally. And the second biggest reason behind that is that we want to put 200% effort into Apocaflix Now. We love this show and what it does for not just us as pundits, but as fans of podcasting, and for you viewers as well. It is our highest rated show, if we're going to say that. It's the show we kind of get together on a weekly basis live on YouTube and kind of just do wacky things together and hang out and talk movies, and that's what we love doing. And it's something that we just kind of thought, you know what, we can do this show and still talk Star Wars and still talk comic books, but all 5 of us together, not separate, and we can do different things with that. And so for the time being, starting the 2nd week of July, you will see no more Padawan Podcast or Nerd Nation on the channel. It will be Apocaflix Now and Casting Table. I will also say we are still working on the details, but more than likely, you will see Apocaflix Now twice a week. You will end up seeing it twice a week. We are still figuring out days. But because we want to make the show the best it can be, and we know that it can be something really, really cool for us and you fans and viewers, we're going to put as much effort as we possibly can into this show and the channel. And we know that for us, Apocaflix Now is the flagship. It is the one that kind of highlights us as a group, as movie fans. It allows us to bring out our different opinions in a really fun fashion. And that's why we want to make sure that it's the highlight without a doubt over everything else. And like I said, it allows us to talk Nerd Nation topics on the show. It allows us to talk Star Wars stuff on the show, but together. Because right now, Jacob and I, we can't talk comic books with Gio or Keith because we're not part of the Nerd Nation panel. We're just substitutes if someone can't make that. And this allows us to talk that all together. And being twice a week allows us to kind of capitalize on the urgency of talking these things and have a lot of fun doing it. So that is the big news, guys. We're changing massively, and it's a big change because we had put Nerd Nation on hiatus before, coming from Comic Hero Talk to Nerd Nation. But for the last 3 or 4 years, we have never stopped Padawan Podcast. It's been part of our routine for a long time. And so for us, this is a really big change. And it does hurt us. You know, obviously, these are things we want to talk about. But we know that for us and for you viewers, for what's going to benefit us and make us more comfortable on doing this and being able to with our schedules in the future, it is strictly focusing on Apocaflix now and Casting Table as well. I will not go without mentioning that because that show is very unique and different. But the big change comes from moving Padawan Podcast and Nerd Nation out and bringing another episode of Apocaflix Now each week, starting the second week of July.
Yes, well said. And we're talking about doing Casting Table monthly instead.
We're still deciding. We're still deciding on that one. Yeah, Casting Table was something we did not want to stop doing because we talked about this. There's hundreds of comic book movie related shows out there. There's hundreds of Star Wars shows out there. There's probably no shows where YouTubers regularly do fan casting. So that's a show that we really wanted to keep around. So we do. And thank you, Rachel, for that. We appreciate that. I was actually thinking about you the most when we decided to make these changes because I know you're one of our regular viewers, and I was wondering if you watch those other shows too. And it does suck, but like you said, Jake, we kind of avoided talking about major comic book movie or Star Wars topics because we have Nerd Nation and Padawan. So if we can just put all of our eggs into this one basket that's Apocaflix Now, I think it'll benefit us long term. And like you said, we will most likely bring back those shows when it's the right time.
Fair.
Ryan, Keith, we want to make this an open conversation for a little bit. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, you basically said it all. So, I mean.
And where's Keith at? I think he's
going to jump in here as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So he'll be here soon. Yay!
Good comment.
That makes sense.
Gio, you got any thoughts on this?
Well, think about it this way, guys. We're pulling a Lucasfilm, okay? We're going to stop doing all these things, one movie a year, all that type of stuff, and we're going to put our eggs where it works, okay? This is like the Mandalorian of our channel. So,
well said.
Awesome.
I will say short and sweet. Short and sweet.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah.
And once Keith jumps on, we'll cut away from our main topic discussion and make sure he's able to say his piece as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to say, we're still discussing the details, but I think Jake and I talked about it a couple days ago, and I think the plan that we have for if there is 2 shows a week and what they're going to be, it's not good. We're going to do some cool things with Apocaflix now that we can just focus on this show. So stay tuned, and I hope everybody's as excited as we are.
Yeah, there's a couple ideas that we had talked about. We can take the time and do a little bit here. We had talked about doing Tuesdays and Fridays, separating them a little bit. That's still, again, in the works. We have a few weeks to kind of officially finalize that. But one of the shows each week will be very similar to what this show is now. Wacky topics, rankings, watch-alongs, fantasy drafts, that type of stuff. But one of the shows will be much more movie-centered when the news starts coming back to us as far as discussing the news or hypothetically thinking or theorizing on that type of stuff. And it allows us to, because we know as a smaller YouTube channel, it's hard for us to get viewership about major news topics because a lot of the major outlets talk about them. But that doesn't mean we still don't want to talk about them. And doing 2 shows twice a week and one in the middle allows us to jump on it a little bit more quickly and have a little bit more fun talking about them. And that being all 5 of us together, not just 3 of us or 2 of us sometimes. And so for us as a channel, it benefits us because we have the most fun together when it's the 5 of us, not just 2 or 3 of us. And so it's something that, although it hurts, it could really, really work out in our favor.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're talking about the Tuesday one being the more formal show, for lack of a better word, talking about news, other like direct movie related stuff. And then Apocaflix Now on Fridays is kind of going to be what we've been doing lately, having fun, watch alongs, doing trivia, playing games. And we hope that both will be like they're kind of their own thing, but still the same show in a way, which I'm excited about. The more and more I think about it, I like the direction that we're headed in for sure.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, with that, any last thoughts, guys?
Good.
No? All right. Well, with that being said, we will move on to our main topic. We don't usually talk about the main topic at the end of the show, but that's going to be for this show. But I'll tell you about our merch. As you can see, Gio is wearing an Apocaflix movie shirt, and Jake is also wearing a Padawan podcast shirt. You can get your own at tpublic.com. If you go to the link, tpublic.com/user/Apocaflix-movies, the link is in the description as well. You can buy your own Apocaflix merch. Not only just Apocaflix movie shirts, all of our shows. I almost said TV shows. All of our shows are up there. There's a shirt for all of them. And even though we are putting Nerd Nation and Padawan on hiatus, you can still get gear to represent those shows as well. But yes, you can get mugs, bags, stickers, pillows, a bunch of cool stuff. It's very tempting for myself. I almost own every t-shirt that's on there. But yes, go
Seriously.
to tpublic.com. You can search Apocaflix in the search bar and find the content there. We would love to see you guys post pictures of the merch. Tweet at us. Merch. Even if you have a coffee mug, tweet that at us. I want a coffee mug so bad. I'm gonna get one soon. Eventually. Does anybody have a coffee mug yet?
My mother bought a travel mug, and she's obsessed with it because the lid has an indent for your lip, and so there's no spilling.
They have travel mugs? Dude, I'm getting a travel mug for sure.
This guy.
Yeah. Gio, your gear finally arrived, man.
Yeah, it took a little time. I don't want to complain. It's during quarantine, but I'm happy I got it. It fits.
Yeah, all the shipping is pretty delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks good, man.
The shirts are so comfortable. I have to talk about that every time. Like, I'm not just saying that. They really are. Yeah, I know, right?
Great comment. Yeah.
Disturbing in a good way. You just have 2 pillows on your couch, like in your living room when somebody walks in. That's a good idea. Gio, you got to get on that, man. Where's your pillows for your background?
Well, I'm ordering right now.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Well, yeah, don't forget, if you get something, tweet at us. We would love to see an image, even if it's just the merchandise itself. We would love to see that. All right, so our main topic today is movie theaters reopening, at least potentially in California. So our state where we live, California, has given theaters the go-ahead to reopen on June 12th today, which that's why I referenced phase 3 at the beginning of the podcast. And
there he is.
Hey, Keith Barnes. And before we get to that, let's talk to Keith Barnes a little bit about the channel announcement.
Yeah. So real quick, actually, let's
even go back even further.
Keith, Cape Fear, amazing, man. Amazing.
I caught on my way home. I caught part of your review.
Hey, this could be a segment. Catch up with Keith. The segment, 30 minutes into the show.
I don't know if you heard, but I am so upset that I didn't include Max Cady in the villains draft, because I would have drafted him so quick. I would have drafted him so quick.
I literally had the exact same thought. As soon as I challenged you to it, I was like, "No, we could have included him in the draft."
So good.
So not spoiling, because I know everybody else hasn't seen it, but how chilling was that ending?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What happened?
The ending. It's not just like chilling, and it just like runs down your spine, but it's so satisfying as a viewer.
Yes,
it is so satisfying as a viewer.
Yeah. I knew you'd love it. I knew you guys will all love this movie. So Gio, you asked
even me.
So one of the things that I made sure to hit on when I was talking about is that it doesn't feel like a typical Scorsese film at all.
Agreed. It has his, like I said, it's a remake, so it has his it has his style, and I don't know if you. I would recommend the original as well. The original is actually very good. But yeah, I can't remember if this was it's either right before or right after Goodfellas. I think it was maybe right after. It's like Goodfellas. I know was 90. This may have been 91.
Yes, this was 91. So this was right after.
Right after Goodfellas. So that's the one. So Gio, you asked the question, how come no one talks about this one? I think it was just overshadowed by Goodfellas.
That
much in
makes
the same way. Jake, you mentioned Tarantino. It's the same way, like, you guys know how much I love Jackie Brown, but that always gets overshadowed by Pulp Fiction, which came right before it.
Got it.
So it's kind of that sort of thing going on. But this is one of his best, to be honest, even though it's a remake. And it doesn't have that kind of dark, gritty, like Mean Streets.
Very thriller. Kind of feel. Very thriller.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
So glad you love it.
And then also, your movie got picked for Brian. On another note,
I heard that as well, and I let out a triumphant scream when I was in the car. I went,
Two in a row, Pete.
2 in a row. I've been trying to get Brian. I've been putting this in there for you for like the last, I don't know, at least each last 2-3 times you've been challenged. I'm trying to get you to watch this one. I can't believe you haven't seen it. I'm excited. Love this. You're gonna love this movie. I'll be surprised if you don't. I'll put it that way.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah.
And then lastly, before we move on to our main topic, we talked about the announcement we made with the shows. Do you want to input anything as far as from your end with Nerd Nation and Padawan?
Yes. So listen, we love those shows. They'll be back, as I'm sure you've mentioned. Certainly, if anyone out there watching, and just make sure you keep. We're gonna bring them back. It's not like we got a campaign to hashtag bring back Nerd Nation. They're gonna be back, but
if that happens, like a whole Twitter thing, we'll bring them back.
Yes, so go ahead, hashtag bring back Nerd Nation. See if we get that done. But but if anyone, if you're, Padawan. If you, safe, oh God, that still hurts, man. That one still hurts.
Yeah.
But we have fun with those shows for everyone. You guys know, and if you are fans of that, hey, you know what? Spread the word. Tell everyone. Tell all your Star Wars friends and family to check it out. And same thing with Nerd Nation. If you like all that stuff, and if you enjoy us talking about those things, spread the word. We'd be happy to bring them back. And we, like I said, we're going to, but we definitely want to get the word out. But we enjoy doing now. We all enjoy now. So it's going to be that for the time being. But just spread the word. That's all I can say.
Yeah, good call. All right, Jacob, the show is yours, sir.
Awesome. So, yes, as I was saying, California is on June 12th today. They can reopen theaters. But according to Deadline, AMC Theaters, Cinemark, Regal, Alamo Drafthouse, ArcLight Cinemas, and I'm sure others are going to remain closed, at least for this week. We know Cinemark has already planned their reopening start for June 19th. And that's not going to be every single theater that they have. And it's also not going to be full capacity. All of these theaters are going to open at limited capacity, highest 50%. I'm hearing as low as 25%, which, look, who knows if opening the theaters is even the right thing to do right now. But if they're going to do it, they have to limit capacity. And that's totally fine. I'm curious, though, how did they manage if somebody shows up with 2 people from their household or if somebody shows up with 6 people from their household? I'm curious how that's going to work out. But there's a bunch of stuff going on. Like they talked about how they would have very strict guidelines on the concessions, on covering the seats where people park, and the timings of the show times, because they're going to have to go in and sanitize every theater after they have viewings. But I heard, not just movie theaters, but other companies like barbershops and stuff, they're using this mechanism where it's like a spray sanitizer that's very quick and very safe and clean and very efficient. So I'm sure they'll use something like that. But with this happening, with the opening of theaters just right around the corner, we're going to have a little discussion about whether or not we personally are going to go to the theaters individually and just talk about this whole thing in general. But also, I think what adds to this, I think a wrench thrown into this, which happened recently, is the delay of some of these movies, these high-profile movies. And I see in the comments, Movie Collector referenced this and said that, we know Godzilla vs. Kong was pushed, Wonder Woman was pushed, Tenet was pushed, and I didn't know The Matrix 4 was pushed.
Yeah, make sure
But-
right before we went on, about an hour or two before we jumped on, it got
the
pushed.
one big movie everybody was talking about was Tenet, and that was kind of like the mark for that's the movie that's going to open and everybody's going to go to the theaters for. It's been pushed back 2 weeks, I believe, which is not
July 31st.
a huge push, but it makes sense. Look, I don't think we're seeing cases in COVID-19 go up, so I don't. The thing is, we all hopefully we're all ready for it now. Like the hospitals, everybody is prepared for this. So I think that's the idea behind everybody, planning to reopen. Not saying that I'm okay with it or not okay with it, but that's just kind of what is going on. But yeah, guys, what do you guys think? Like, do you think it's a good idea for theaters to start opening? And how do you guys feel about going personally?
I'm with Keith 100%. No, it's not late enough, I guess is the best way to say it. There's still stuff going on, and it was just announced today. I know it's somewhere across the country, but in Texas, at the University of Houston, they had optional practice for one of their teams, and 6 players walked away with tested positive for COVID. Like, it's people are still getting into some kind of mass groups, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 50, and people are still walking away with being infected. And a movie theater, as much as I want to go to a movie theater, is one of the worst places to have it, because you're secluded with people in a very small space. Like, no matter if there's 2 people, 12 people, whatever, you're still very secluded in a very small place for at least 2 hours with the movie, with previews, all that stuff. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's tough because we all want to go, and it doesn't feel like it's the right time yet. I think, unfortunately, just everything going on around the world right now is very hard, because the Black Lives Matter stuff is kind of overshadowing what's going on with COVID, and rightfully so. But right now, we're not talking about COVID, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Like, it's still happening across the world, and companies are like, even like our city in Sacramento, they're like, oh, everyone's not talking about it, let's open, and everything's going back to normal, and then it's going to come back crashing down again. So for me, I'm not going to see a movie theater for a while, and it sucks, but I want to make sure that I'm safe and alive to see the movie theater in the future.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
100%. It's theaters are. Yeah, I'm sorry, Gio.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of. I mean, Jake kind of just said it. We're you and I are definitely on the same page. It's just, I was thinking the other day about just thinking way back to 2012 and how much fun I had because Jacob and I were on my buddy Scott's show, and I was talking about Avengers, and I was thinking about just going through that experience of going to see that movie, and how much fun it was. And I was by myself, but what a communal, you could just you guys know the excitement in the air.
Oh yeah,
everyone and I was just talking to some people, just random people I didn't know, about how excited we were with what we were going to look forward to in this movie, and I want that. I miss it. I love when we all go to the movies together in our group. It's going to be a while, but it's just, what? Hey, sacrifices. We gotta. Even if we don't get sick, and I don't want to get sick at all. Yeah, maybe it may or may not. You're not going to. Well, I don't want to say that, but it's an unpredictable virus, right? We don't know what it's going to do to any individual person. It could be for some people it's kind of mild, some people it's really bad. But even some of the mild cases are, from what I hear, it's pretty rough. It's pretty brutal on you. And I don't want to get it. I don't want it. I don't want my kids to get it. I don't want anybody I know to get it. I don't want you guys to get it. So I don't think it's fear, whatever. It's smart, right? It's the smart thing to do. And look, movie theaters are, to be honest, as much as we love it, they're gross anyway, right? Even just on without the thing.
Yeah, so true.
They are, man. I watched the thing on, I can't remember what it was. I watched something on TV about it once, where it was one of those like Dateline or whatever, not Dateline, but you know what I mean, just one of those shows. And we go into a movie theater to see just how clean are they. Boy, it was awful. It was the worst. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. So, and that's just on a just normal, like, normal situation. So, and I know, like I said, I got emails from Cinemark. You probably guys all got them too, about how they're doing all the deep cleaning and disinfecting and all that stuff, which is great. Which does sound good, but still, even with the distancing and limited capacity, I'm just not quite as comfortable yet going in there, just sitting in a theater with a bunch of people, even with masks, because we see how defiant people are being about the masks, So, and another thing, even if they do open up, it's like with this limited capacity, I mean, it's going to be hard to get into some of these movies, right? Like if you're only letting in half or 25% or whatever.
Well, not just that, but like, what is even playing? Like right now, this is the next thing that's on the list, and this is going to get delayed at some point, right?
Mulan,
because they're not going to put a movie. They're not going to put a
20.
movie out in theaters for 25% of capacity for a movie like Mulan. They're not going to make the money back. Like it's a bomb if they do that.
Unless they put it on all the screens they have, which they can't do that, So,
or they could actually. I mean, what else is out?
Well, yeah, I suppose. For this one,
real quick, here's a scary comment from Rachel. Work reopened. 2 people were diagnosed with COVID last week, and half the office is back in isolation. It's definitely still around.
See? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, you don't want that to happen. There's stuff to open up just to close again. So I don't know. I don't know what to say, man, but it sucks.
Well, everyone's so eager, like all business owners, and understandably so. Like there's so many businesses, including the one I work for, they're on the verge of going out of business. And I understand, but it gets to a certain point, we're talking life or death here. And look, I work in an office. I didn't want to go back, but they said we're coming back, and that's what happened. So it's like, do we lose our jobs over this type of thing? It just depends. But like Keith, you have kids to go home to, like you have them to think about, and that's very important. And of course we want to protect our own health, but I'm torn on this, because of course I want to go back to the movies, but not in this situation. And we were talking about Tenet coming out. Like it would be so difficult to not go watch Tenet if it was out on July 17th.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult decision to make, but I think this is going to happen either way. And look, I'm not going back to the movie theaters to see Avengers on the screen, on the big screen again, or to look, as much as I love Avengers and Lord of the Rings and people love Avatar, those are the movies they're going to be playing on the theaters. There's already showtimes. I don't know about in California or Sacramento, but there's already showtimes in other places. They're playing Lord of the Rings trilogy in theaters. And as much as I would love to go watch those under normal circumstances,
maybe that's how I do my rewatch.
Yeah, under normal circumstances in theaters, I'm not gonna go because of that. If Tenet's in theaters on July 31st, I'm gonna have a hard time not going.
I feel you. I feel you as far as it being in theaters. I feel you as far as it being open.
Yeah.
But as I feel you as far as not being able to see Tenet in theaters. Like if it's open, it's going to be very difficult. But for me, as much as that movie needs to be experienced on the big screen, I would ultimately be really pissed off for them to even open the movie at that point. Like I would be very frustrated at Warner Brothers to be like, yeah, we know COVID's still going, but here's your Tenet. Let's let you risk your life to come watch our movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very selfish of the studio as well. Like, if you push it back a year, do you really think people aren't going to watch the movie? Or
I wonder
6 months?
I wonder how much of that might be Nolan. I mean, because he's not the kind of director. He's got a big say in this.
Absolutely.
But don't you think Nolan would want his movie out when the most people can watch it?
Yeah. You would think, but you never know. I mean,
how much that movie cost? Probably over $200 million to make, right? Warner Brothers is invested in Nolan, and you're gonna release the movie during a global pandemic with minimum 25% capacity.
Sure.
Well, that's why they pushed it back, because these theaters announced what their capacities were going to be, and and the thing is,
man.
Look, if that's the case, then pushing it back 2 weeks is not enough.
Well, that's
at all
pushing it back at all. and I'm sorry, Gio, Brian, you guys are quiet. We'll get. I just had to say something. I just noticed Brian, your name too. That's very funny.
Oh, thank you.
but
Took me like 5 minutes to think of something.
but yeah. So how long are they going to leave these movies in theaters though? Because to go along with Nolan again, like I'm sure he wouldn't want would put it in in theaters for I don't know 3 weeks or a month and then send it straight to streaming like the ones from earlier this fall.
I feel like if the theaters actually open and they actually release it on July 31st, there's going to be no other big movies coming out for a long time. Even if Mulan comes out or other films, you could just leave Tenet in theaters the whole time, to be honest, because it's going to take longer for people to see it. Maybe in 6 months, COVID-19 we have a better handle on it. So maybe Tenet could be in theaters for like 6 months if it actually does come out, honestly. I think it will be. Or they'll do some type of re-release or something. But if I was making the decision, I would push it back. I mean, at least, I don't know about a whole entire year, like a year from now, but a while, at least somewhere in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, I think about this like, and I'm not talking about myself, but just other people, right? Other people are going to dine-in restaurants right now. How is a dine-in restaurant any better than a movie theater? It's not. Think about this. So you're going to a dine-in theater, you're sitting down where somebody else was sitting, or however they do it. People were around, and then you go and order food. You have the cook, the busboy, the waiter, everybody. A lot of people handling your food, your utensils, everything, no matter how safe they are. The movie theater workers are going to be just as safe. They're going to come and they're going to clean all the seats, everything. And then you're going to go sit there. And to me, honestly, I think going to a movie theater would be safer than going to a dine-in restaurant or the grocery store. But the difference is going to the grocery store is essential. You have to go get food, right? You can have it delivered, but somebody has to go grocery shopping. So we have to have that. We don't necessarily have to have dine-in restaurants, but they're going to go out of business if we don't. Yeah. So it's just a difficult situation. Like, I don't think any public place is more dangerous or less dangerous than a movie theater. So it's a difficult situation. But like I said, I was not planning on going to the theaters right away, like when they opened. But I was like, okay, I'll reevaluate the situation once Tenet comes out. But now it's getting pushed, and it's probably going to get pushed again, to be honest. So definitely.
Gio, is that Wonder Woman thing confirmed?
Yeah.
That is. Wow.
And that's still too early. Like I said, 2021, late spring, early summer. All it takes is one case. Somebody gets COVID at one movie theater, and that's going to mess it up for all the other chains.
Yeah.
Well, that one person who gets COVID, they could end up suing that theater. They could end up, and that's the problem. Like,
but we already know at this point you can't track that though. But you could say I went to Safeway today, and now I'm COVID positive. Yeah. But
that's fine. But
now I'm going to sue Safeway.
If you take that to a courtroom, more than likely that person's going to win that no matter what.
Well, what they're going to do, what they're going to do is they're going to be waivers or disclaimers or stuff that you're going to have to probably.
Oh yeah, when you purchase your ticket, it's going to be in the fine print that we're not responsible for you getting sick, which is another reason not to go.
Because I just saw a grocery store. That's a good point there, Rachel. There, sitting there stewing in a, but. I saw a sign that said, we recommend you wear a mask, but if you, that's a Target, matter of fact, it was a Target down in Elk Grove. We recommend you wear a mask, but if you don't, that's basically say that's on you if you don't, if you get sick, So I will imagine movie theaters and even restaurants will do probably similar thing.
So what about you guys, Brian and Gio? How do you guys personally feel about this? Like, if Tenet does come out on July 31st, regardless of our opinions, how do you guys feel about it?
Gio, you want to go or you want me to go?
You can go first, Brian.
Well, I was kind of leaning towards the side of like I probably would go, but like the more you really sit and listen and think about it, it's probably not the best idea because in my head I was thinking like, okay, well, the thing. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
baby
support.
sis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
post it.
Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
So, well, because I was trying to think of like how the risks of the movie theater and stuff, and the one glaring thing to me is the seats. Like that to me, that's probably the thing that would get me the most because I was like, well, okay, I could bring like wet wipes and like wipe the armrests and that stuff down, but then again, like you're still sitting in the seat. The cushions and who knows how this thing really transfers and whatnot. I mean, we know it's airborne, but you never really know.
We don't really know how people get it.
Yeah,
They talk about everything. We have no idea how people get this thing.
Right.
and then I just kind of come to, do I want to really like sit with a mask on for 2 hours? But at the same time, like maybe I don't even like realize it. And let's be honest, like at the same time, who's really going to monitor if you take it off during the movie? Like, is there going to be people in the...
And the thing is about concessions, the movie theaters make all of their money on concessions. You can't... Handling the concessions and serving it to customers is going to be the hardest part. And if you can't do that, there's no point in opening. But go ahead, Brian. I was thinking about eating with the mask on. It's going to be difficult.
Brian, let me ask you a question. Because you're the one who was probably out of the five of us was leaning a little bit more towards going, which we're not hashing you at all for it.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to ask you though, if say Tenet came out in theaters and on VOD the same exact weekend, which one would you choose?
Oh.
What would you do? Would you go to see it in theaters or would you pay to see it at home?
I would like to logically think that I would pick the video on demand, but I immediately get excited and go, "Oh, see it in theaters." So I don't know, but see, here's the thing that helps sway me is I don't like to go to movie theaters by myself. So personally,
that's true. Hey, I know firsthand it's true.
Yeah, I am not a huge person that likes to go by myself. I think it's more fun to go with someone, whoever it is, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, whatever. But I mean, 99% of the time, Jake and I are the ones that go together. If Jake and I go to a movie, is him and I gonna? He's gonna.
Stay the hell away from me, bro. Go sit on the other side.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
am I gonna sit in seat 1 and then he's gonna be in seat 7?
Yeah.
At that point, it's like what's kind of.
So I think they're gonna allow people from the same household to sit together, but they're not gonna be able to regulate that. So whoever you
exactly.
show up with,
I don't know if that would be the case
with.
because how can they regulate that?
They can't, and that's the thing with restaurants. So with the restaurants reopening, they said people from the same household have to sit together, but they can't regulate that. They're just trusting people to tell the truth about that. But you guys could easily say your roommates or siblings or whatever and just go. And you'll be able to sit together, but that's like defeating the purpose of avoiding the virus in a way.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I kind of have, is it what I say, more or less? I guess the less thoughts to weigh on because like Jake, you have your family that you live with. Jacob, you have your significant other. Gio, you're with your family. Keith, you have your family. Whereas I'm just kind of by myself. 90.
You're not a loner, Brian. Don't you dare allude to that.
I'm saying living wise.
And also due to COVID-19, all of our social lives have been put on pause. So.
No, I know, but I'm saying as far as going
living
somewhere
where you
and coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Brian for the first time in person in 3 weeks the other day. It was weird.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He looked completely different.
Yeah. So but I'm just saying like in that aspect, I'm not usually around people, so like if I get it, it's more likely going to stay with me. So like, whereas if one of you get it, you're at a higher risk of passing it to someone because you're constantly around someone. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying like if I get it, I get it. Like, I'm obviously not because, like,
Sure.
I mean,
Just, it'd
for
be
me,
easier for you to isolate because you do live alone.
exactly. Yeah.
So
I
you
mean,
can
to be honest, yeah. To be honest, the only person that really comes over is Jake for maybe once a week, or I mean, like we said, I hadn't seen him for 3 weeks, so it's like I don't know. I'm not obvious. My family is an hour and a half away, so I'm like I would have to make a plan to go see them. So,
Gio, I want to pose a similar question to you, man. Say, I know that you've been saying that the October release date for Wonder Woman is too far or too close still. But let's say that next month, July, they're like, we're figuring things out. We may have an idea for a cure. Kind of maybe cases are starting to go down a little bit. Say Wonder Woman stuck with that August release date. Same question. VOD in theaters. What would you choose?
I'd go VOD because realistically, we're not going to get a vaccine until probably spring of next year, if not early summer. Look, the bottom line is theaters are dying to reopen. They need to make money right now.
Well, we saw AMC. Do you see what they said they lost in the last quarter? $2.3 billion.
So,
well, they might go out of business, which is terrible.
They very well could go out of business
because they were doing the AMC A-list thing, and they had they're in so much debt because of that.
Well,
because
and
that's a long-term plan to make profit.
I know that they're all over the country, but they're very heavily LA based. And that is a huge market for them.
Well, Southern California in general too.
Yeah, San Diego, Los Angeles.
Well, like we don't realize this because we don't have one here, but they are the biggest movie theater chain.
Stupid in the world. AMC, go out of business. You guys don't have one in Sacramento.
Closest one is the Bay Area.
AMC A-list is the greatest deal ever that we couldn't have.
You guys have 5 customers sitting right here, and you won't put one in Sacramento.
If they did, oh man! Like once things are normal, AMC A-list, it was 3 movies a week that could be premium as well
for $20
or $20 a month.
Kidding me?
Oh my!
Gio, go ahead, though. I'm sorry, Gio.
AMC should have bought the movie theater.
One. Yeah. Go ahead, Gio. Sorry, I cut you off there, man.
Oh no, that's pretty much what I was gonna say. You know, I worked at a movie theater, so I know what their cleaning protocols are. This was around Spider-Man 3 era, so maybe it's changed a little bit, but you're not convincing me that you're keeping a theater clean. Right. Be able to do that in between show times when you're
after every show. Yeah, exactly.
Showtime. So yeah,
they would have to have. They would have to have like 3 shows a day.
I would like to
maximize cleaning.
Everyone's taking this very seriously. I do believe they are going to do the correct cleaning procedures to make this as safe as possible, but I don't think that's enough to keep the virus from spreading because you can clean the theater as much as possible. Let's say hypothetically you clean it, you get rid of the virus if it was in there. Then you're going into the theater with another 100 people who could potentially be contagious. So it's very difficult. You get to enjoy it. Man, Jake, you and I have been talking for like 2 years how we can't have AMC A-list.
So my sister has it, and
it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
And we just watch everybody else.
The Cinemark one is really, really good. The Movie Club is really good. I like Cinemark. I love XD. I personally like XD a little bit more than what I've gone to for AMC, but the AMC experience is better because of the A-list. It is.
I love Cinemark. You know the last movie I saw in an AMC theater was The Dark Knight.
Nice. The last one I saw was The Lion King.
I was there.
The new one?
I know. Yeah, the new one, yeah.
I was gonna say, damn.
You didn't have a good time. You didn't.
No,
you walked out of it
I don't want to go off
it.
tangent, but the AMC theater, they cut the ratio. They cut the ratio of the film, so half of the movie was slimmed. I swear. I promise you. And so my experience was completely ruined. Completely ruined.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Interesting.
But yeah, we can move on for what we're talking about currently.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think for the general consensus among us is too early to open. Not
Except one.
not rushing back. Look,
Yeah.
Well, look what she said before that to put it in context.
No, I know. We put that in there.
no, but look, I'm not gonna lie. If it actually comes out on July 31st, it's going to be so difficult for me not to go watch Tenet. Like, I'm going to have to have somebody restrain me because
again, for me,
I'm
if it
dying
came
to
down to
see it. But look, it's life. Then I think it's literally like not just for myself, but for my people around me, my family, my grandma. It's life or death. So that's what stops me.
If we're rolling dice, you're the last of us that's gonna go. We already know that. If we know you, we know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a germaphobe, like even way before COVID-19. But like, I don't know.
But he'll go
man,
see
like,
this movie. He'll go see this movie. He'll risk it all to see this movie.
To Rachel's comment with Wonder Woman being the one, if we get to Black Widow, that might be the movie that breaks me.
Again, I go back to what I said earlier. I would be very, very frustrated at studios for releasing the movies, for choosing to release the movies
in the first place,
when this is still going on.
They're putting us in that dilemma as well. And
it's them who are risking our lives, even though we're making the decision. They're making us choose if we want to see it or not, because that will be the only time that we can see it in theaters. And to me, that is wrong. That is wrong of them to do that.
I agree with that.
We got big TVs, y'all. You know, I got a nice sound bar.
Mine's not big enough.
Well, you know, we're gonna watch it.
Jake knows why he's laughing. Jake's laughing a little extra right now because he's an asshole.
Well, another thing, real quick, I was thinking about this. So I think most of us, or I don't know if all 5 of us have Cinemark Movie Club, right? And I also have Regal Unlimited. So obviously, when the pandemic started, they paused the subscriptions. But what if the theaters open and then they restart our subscriptions again? Like, that's kind of unfair, to be honest.
I don't think they'll.
Great point.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's a good
great point.
Well, I was gonna say if those movies are on VOD and like let's say Tenet comes out on July 31st, also on VOD. It's not gonna come out on VOD, by the way. But if it did,
I can't see a movie like Wonder Woman or Black Widow without a group around me. I just can't.
Well,
I can't. And I would be very, very frustrated if I would never get that opportunity.
Yeah, that would suck. But like, we could get together safely and watch it, somehow. But it's not the same. Not the same.
I could see, honestly, them kind of doing what they did with who was it? Not Birds of Prey. What came out after Birds of Prey? Invisible Man?
For Wonder Woman, Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Where it was, I think there was something else after that, where it was like out for like only like.
Well, they did
2
like
weeks.
The Gentleman, Emma, The Way Back.
Yeah, but there was something like in the theater that was there for only like 2 weeks, and then they threw it straight to video on demand. I could see them.
It was the Vin Diesel movie Bloodshot.
That's it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Bloodshot, The Hunt. The Way Back,
yeah, all of those were in theater. Yeah.
I could see them maybe say, "All right, it's 4 weeks in theaters, and then it's going to go on video on demand." And then, I mean, because some of them are, frankly, I think Disney's probably hurting for money, probably more than.
I don't think so.
Disney is. If there's a thing, Disney is. They're never hurting.
I don't think so.
But you have to think, what funds is Disney bringing in right now other than Disney Plus?
Disneyland is open for one thing.
Not right now.
And also,
Disneyland's not open for another month.
Disney World is open.
And the ones across the world are on the other side of the world. Yeah,
in Orlando, they are open from what I heard. And plus,
this is what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, I'd be down.
We can do a watch along.
I'd be down for that.
We can play sound bites of movie crowds.
Jake has his own place now, so he'll probably have the biggest TV.
True, yeah.
No, I'll tell you,
True,
but
Jake,
honestly,
it's projector time.
Look, Disney is hurting. They're
I'm not
they're
opposed.
not. Disney's not going to go out of business, but every company is hurting for money right now. Almost every. There are some businesses that spiked because of everything going on, but Disney,
unfortunately, yes.
like, we don't know the numbers of Disney, but they're losing out on like we talked about the movie theaters losing out on money. Disney's losing out on way more money than that. Which, not that we should feel bad for them, but if it threatens us having Disney stuff in the future, then we should care.
Actually, and you may be right because they're losing because there's no sports, right? That's a lot of ad revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Sports are coming back though. Sports are coming back.
Yeah,
So
are they?
say.
I mean, baseball can't get together.
Baseball's a different story. Baseball's a different story, but soccer is coming back. My sports of Supercross and motocross are back currently.
Yeah.
NASCAR is officially back.
Golf is coming. Golf is back.
Golf is back this weekend. Basketball is officially finalized the plan. Football for sure is going to happen. Everything but baseball seems to be
unless there's a crazy just spike in COVID-19 cases and we all have to shut it down again.
Yes,
which is the whole point why we shouldn't rush to reopen.
Yeah, you know what movie studio I could see push out a movie? Just absolutely we're going to push one out. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking of. Can you not see Sony just try to push out a movie?
100%.
Well, that Unhinged movie is coming out on July 1st, supposedly.
Yeah, the Russell Crowe one. Yeah,
supposedly. We'll see. I didn't know this, but I guess it's from a movie or a production company that's their first film or a movie studio. It's their very first film ever. So good luck, I guess. I mean, they better release it on VOD like shortly after because I'll pay to watch it.
I know. I saw that trailer and I was like, "What?"
See, I'm not gonna go see Tennant or whatever if I know it's gonna be on VOD in a month. Like, I'm just gonna wait and watch it at home. Like me. I mean, a lot of people will flock to the theater to see it just because they can, because we're free, we're Americans, we have rights, blah blah blah, whatever. But I'm gonna wait. I think a lot of people would also, even if this wasn't a virus, like if I know a movie that I want to see is gonna be out in 3 weeks, I can watch it at home. Wait and watch it at home. Save myself a little money, you know.
Depends on the movie, but yeah.
Sure.
So,
awesome. Well, you guys, any last thoughts on this whole thing, guys?
Don't open theaters, studios. Be smarter than you actually are. Please. Please. Come on, please.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing because, like, I think this is such a hard dilemma because we're risking theaters going out of business, to be honest. Theater chains are gonna go out of business. But that's what sucks. But it's not worth risking lives for.
Jacob, it's going to a theater or it's dying.
No, I know. I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm just saying, like, that's what's gonna happen is they're gonna go out, and it's nobody's fault. Nobody saw this coming. It's crazy.
To me, it's a higher risk of opening because you could have major lawsuits on your hand.
Absolutely.
That's what I'll say.
And also, like, if let's say AMC goes out of business, right? And then, either one of the other theater chains are gonna be open more theaters event later on, or a new theater chain will open up, So I don't think movie theaters are dead forever, but we'll see what happens.
Let's get together and buy one when it closes. So when they open back up, Apocaflix theaters.
We should buy the tower.
We just screen movies.
Oh, tower.
Well, but I want to keep it as tower.
Yeah, we keep it the tower, but it's run by Apocaflix Movies.
Yes.
Tower here by presented by Apocaflix.
The mall's available.
We can just screen any movie we want, or we have to get the studios, but you know what we mean. Well, for better or worse, that's going to do it for our discussion on these movie theaters. Look, that's never a fun discussion to have. It's a lose-lose situation, and we just have to – everybody has to be smart. And like I said, I keep telling people it's life or death. Like I tried to tell my employer, it's life or death, and they're still bringing us back. So hopefully none of them are watching this. But that is going to
wrap
Prakash?
He's going to rat you out.
He's on my side. No, he agrees with me. We talked about it a lot. But yes, that's going to do it for Apocaflix Now. this week. I want to thank the panel today, Gio, Keith, Brian, Jake, and I'm your host, Jacob. And yes, like we talked about, be safe, be smart, stay inside, protect yourself, protect your loved ones. And also, check out our other shows, check out our podcast, go buy an Apocaflix t-shirt, and don't
check
forget
out the
vote.
shows while you can. Check out the shows while you can.
And go
We're not
if you've
removing them off the site, though.
Yeah,
No.
never
I'm just saying,
watched.
new episodes, guys. God, don't come after me. Come on.
No, go
Well,
back.
no, you've done that. You said it twice, where it's kind of sounded like you're taking them. They're going to be.
I'm not
going
to delete them from the YouTube channel. Come on.
Yeah.
I know,
Well, I was
but I'm
gonna
just
say,
saying in general.
Go back to episode 1 of the Padawan podcast and just watch them all. There
see
you go.
the evolution these shows have come from, guys.
By the
It's
time
pretty
you
incredible.
finish, we'll probably bring the show back in like a year.
And go vote on that poll. We wanna
Yes,
know
I was
our-
gonna
our-
say.
Oh wait,
go
Keith, did you
vote
see
on
what
our
our
next
watch
watch-along.
along? What the watch along choices are, and
no.
which one's in the lead?
It's already changing.
So Brian chose Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
You chose Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah.
I had picked Demolition Man from Hulu. Gio went for Into the
God.
Spider-Verse on Netflix. And Jacob had The Cabin in the Woods. And right now, Into the Spider-Verse is walloping everybody.
That makes me so happy. I might actually vote for that myself.
The most popular movie is always going to win. But Keith, have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yes, that's Chris
Oh.
Hemsworth, right?
Yes.
Brian, have you?
cool.
I've seen that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Brian
Gio,
or
have
Gio
you?
have.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it a scary
I
movie?
think you'll
No.
like it.
No, it's not a
It's
scary movie. It's
not
awesome,
really.
though. It's awesome, though.
Is that the Jennifer Lawrence one?
No.
No.
That's the house
No.
at the end of the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
Got
it's
Very crazy.
categorized as a
Very crazy
horror
last.
film.
It's
but-
amazing.
Last half
It's
hour is
amazing.
insane.
That's all I'm going to say. It's amazing.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We will see you all next week.